Have you ever really thought about how that phone in your pocket or the coffee in your mug got to you from halfway across the world? Well, it all comes down to the beautifully controlled chaos of our planet's megaport terminals. Today, we're going to crack the code and look at the hidden numbers that really dictate the speed of global trade. And these aren't just dry statistics, they are the literal vital signs of our entire global economy. Just to give you a sense of the scale we're dealing with, picture this. One single container ship can be packed with enough stuff to fill a train that's 40 miles long. 40 miles! And a port's job? To take that entire floating skyscraper of goods, break it all down, and get it moving again, usually in just a matter of hours. The pressure is just unbelievable, and every single second is critical. So, to figure out how they pull this off, here's our game plan. First, we'll learn the language ports use, which is all about numbers. Then, we'll get into the metrics of speed and space. After that, we'll see how it all fits into a balanced scorecard for a port's overall health. And finally, we'll see why context is absolutely everything. Okay, so how on earth do you keep an operation this massive, this complex, from just grinding to a halt? Well, it all starts with speaking the right language. And that language is data. This really is the central question, isn't it? Is a terminal running like a perfectly oiled machine, or is it one little delay away from a total meltdown that could cause ripples around the world? The answer, you guessed it, is in the numbers. It's all about how you measure it. The main tool they use is something called a KPI, or Key Performance Indicator. The easiest way to think about these is like the vital signs a doctor takes. They take all this insane complexity, the ships, the cranes, the trucks, all of it, and they boil it down into a few clear numbers that tell you exactly how well the port is doing. And a port's health isn't just one single number. It's more like a full checkup. As you can see here, we're looking at everything. We're talking raw volume or throughput, the efficiency of the cranes, how fast ships and trucks get in and out, how packed the storage yard is, and of course, super critical stuff like safety and environmental impact. So let's start with the metrics that are probably the most intuitive, the ones all about the race against the clock. Because at a port, trust me, every single second has a price tag attached to it. This number right here, crane productivity, is a massive deal. A really efficient crane can make between 30 and 35 moves every single hour. Now try to picture that. That's lifting a box the size of a truck trailer off of a ship and placing it perfectly on the dock in less than 2 minutes. Then doing it again and again. That's the rhythm of a busy port. Now if we zoom out from a single crane, we get to vessel turnaround time. For a major terminal, the big goal is to get an entire ship with its thousands and thousands of containers unloaded, reloaded, and heading back out to sea in under 24 hours. A ship that's just sitting there is a ship that's losing money, so the clock is always ticking. And the race doesn't stop at the water's edge. Every one of those containers eventually has to leave on a truck or a train. A top-tier port wants to get a truck through the gate, get its container loaded up, and have it back on the highway in less than 30 minutes. If this part slows down, that's when you see those huge lines of trucks backing up for miles on the news. But look, speed is only half the story. All those containers moving at lightning speed have to actually go somewhere. And that brings us to our next big challenge, the space squeeze. A port is a finite piece of real estate, and managing every square inch is just as important as managing every second. This brings us to a really crucial idea called dwell time. It's basically just how long a container sits around in the yard waiting for its next move. You can think of the port as a warehouse, but it's a warehouse where the goal is for the inventory to stay for the shortest possible time. Low dwell time is a sign that things are flowing really smoothly. So what's the gold standard here? Well, an efficient terminal is shooting for an average dwell time of less than 48 hours. If a container sits for much longer than that, it's not just taking up valuable space, it's a potential bottleneck for the entire global supply chain. And here's something that might sound a little counterintuitive about space. Being completely full is actually a bad thing. You'd think 100% capacity is the goal, right? Nope. That's a recipe for total gridlock. The sweet spot is actually around 80% utilization. That extra 20% isn't wasted space. It's a vital buffer zone that lets things move around and absorbs any sudden surges. Push past that 80% mark, and you get terminal-wide traffic jams. Okay, so speed and space are obviously huge, but a truly healthy port is more than just a fast port. To get the whole story, you need what's called a balanced scorecard.
something that looks way beyond just how quickly you can move boxes.
Right. A healthy port is also a safe one, a reliable one, and a sustainable one. That means you're tracking your damage rate. The goal is less than 1 in 1,000 containers. It means you're watching your energy use per container. That's what TEU stands for. And of course, number one is making sure everything is done with safety as the top priority.
This chart shows that constant balancing act perfectly. On one hand, you need your multi-million-dollar cranes working hard. A utilization rate of about 75% is a great target, but you can't just run them into the ground. At the same time, you have to keep the downtime for repairs and maintenance under 5%. It's this constant trade-off between productivity and long-term reliability.
All right, now for a really crucial piece of the puzzle. We've thrown out all these benchmarks, 30 moves an hour, 48-hour dwell time. But you have to understand, these numbers are not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. The most important thing to remember is that you can't just focus on one metric and ignore all the others. I mean, if you push your crane operators to go as fast as possible just to hit that 35 moves an hour number, but your accident rate goes up or you start damaging cargo, did you really get better? No way. The real goal is to optimize the whole system, not just one number on a screen.
And what we consider good performance can change dramatically depending on the situation. A brand new, completely automated terminal is going to have totally different benchmarks for speed than an older, manual port that's stuck with a tricky layout or doesn't have a lot of space. You really have to compare apples to apples.
So after all that, why should any of this matter to you? Well, because these numbers, these KPIs, they are the real-time pulse of the global economy. A tiny dip in crane productivity in a port halfway across the planet can be the direct reason that the price of your coffee goes up, or why that new gadget you want is suddenly out of stock. It is all connected by these numbers. Which leaves us with one final thing to think about. In this world that we've built that demands just-in-time everything and next-day shipping, where every single second seems to count, what is the true price, not just in dollars, but across the entire system, of a single hour lost at port?